and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to introduce our brand new die set, Build a Critter Graduation Accessories. These accessories are a perfect match to our Build-A-Bunny and our Build-A-Fox, and they're the latest in our accessories and costumes for these adorable critters. You can see now we have general costumes, we have Halloween, we have winter, Christmas, Valentine's Day, spring, and now graduation too. We're also going to be taking a look at our giant outlined yay. This big bold sentiment is so much fun. And we're going to take a look at our All the Grad Caps stamp set, coordinating die, and coordinating coloring stencil. We also have a brand new Tiny Sentiments graduation and a coordinating die for this too. These cute little sentiments are a perfect match for the All the Grad Caps, which are perfect grad caps that you can add to lots of different critters in your stash. And I love that those Tiny Sentiments graduation are also perfect for the new Build a Critter graduation accessories too. So let's go ahead and check them all out. First up, we're going to take a look at the Build a Critter graduation accessories. These are so cute. We have the gown here and the sleeves for the gown. We have a sash and the mortarboard cap or grad cap and also a tassel. We have a diploma and a little ribbon that you can put around the diploma, a little bow tie, and some cute glasses which can be used with these graduation accessories or on their own too. Now here we've brought out our Build-A-Fox so that you can see how this cute outfit layers onto him. I love that you can also layer it onto our Build-A-Bunny too. So we're going to add a little drop of glue to the center of the cap. There's actually a little embossed detail so you know exactly where to add it, and then we can layer on the tassel. And then here you can see how adorable the glasses look on the critters. Again, you can use these glasses with this fun graduation outfit, but you could also layer them with some of the other outfits we have, which would be super cute. Here is the little ribbon that goes onto the diploma, which is just adorable. And now we're going to layer the gown onto the fox. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to layer on the sleeves here. So we're going to add some adhesive to the back and just layer them right onto the fox's arm. And we can do that with both sleeves. And then you can layer the rest of the gown over top to get that really cute cap and gown look. Then next we'll layer on the cap and the sash too. And what I love about this is that you can use this with any color, so you can customize it to the recipient's school colors, and I think that's such a fun way to make a special graduation card for someone. You can also take off the sash and just leave the gown just like this, or you can use this adorable little bow tie. And then of course you can bring in the glasses as well, which I think is such an adorable look with the cap and gown. And you can have your little critter hold on to that adorable diploma. I think this is just so cute, it's so sweet. And here we wanted to show you what it looks like when you layer the gown onto the bunny. Here you can see that we've used some different school colors to help personalize it to the recipient. And now we're going to take the little round glasses and add them to the bunny, and that is just so adorable. Now in both of these characters we have the arms up in the air because they're kind of saying yay, but you can also layer the arms down like we've done here, which is a really sweet look too. Next, we're going to take a look at the giant outline yay, which is a really fun, bold sentiment. And you can see here that we've die cut a base and then two of the frame pieces. So here we're going to take out the little interior parts of the letters here on our one that's out of white cardstock. And you could always put those aside for a different card, but we're going to layer the frame onto the base just like this. And then for fun contrasting look, we're going to start layering the different colors that we've die cut here out of some peacock cardstock. So here you can see we're taking the inner part of the letters and then dropping them in. And that's what's going to give you this really fun contrasting look that is so super cute. We're going to add the frame of the A and then the interior part of the opening of the A in there. We can add the dot in to the dot for the exclamation point, and then we're going to take out the exclamation point and also the Y. And I love this sentiment because it's cute for graduations, but it's cute for everything. It could be yay, it's your birthday, yay, congratulations, yay, you did it. There's so many things that you can use it for, and it's just adorable. Next, we're going to take a look at all the grad caps, and this is the latest in our all the series. We have all the speech bubbles, all the clouds, all the Santa hats, and now we have all the grad caps, and they are in different sizes and different styles and also facing different directions so that you can layer them onto your favorite critters, and then we have them in all different positions so that it's going to work on any card. It also has this really great congratulations sentiment that is so pretty in the set, and I just love. Now this is our Tiny Sentiments graduation. It comes with this speech bubble here and then all of these fun tiny little graduation themed phrases. So here we have our congrats grad, and you can stamp these phrases on their own or you can stamp them into the speech bubble. We have hooray, nice cap, which is one of my favorites, so proud of you. Then we also have sky's the limit. Then we have happy graduation, of course, it's a perfect match. You did it. Then we also have here, you deserve a break. And also, let's celebrate, which is so perfect. And of course, we have, I like your hat. So I like, maybe you could have one speech bubble that says, nice cap, and the other one says, I like your hat. And then we have hello grad. And you can see that these two are a great match for each other. Now, just like we customize our cute critter costume earlier to match, you can do the same thing with these caps. So you can do a more traditional black mortarboard cap or graduation cap, or you can bring in some fun colors. And of course, you can bring in fun colors onto the tassels too. And so that's what I'm going to do here on some of these other caps. Now, you could use your markers, your colored pencils, your watercolors, and also your coloring stencils too. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. Here you can see we've done red, blue, green, any color to customize it to the recipient's school colors. Next up, we have the Tiny Sentiments graduation, and I always like to add a little bit of a shadow onto the speech bubbles to help them pop. So for this one, we're going to do a warm gray, and for this other one, we're going to do a light blue. I like the look of both. It just kind of depends on my card what's going to look best. Now, next up, we have the coordinating dies for these sets. These are the dies for all the grad caps, which you can line up with your stamped images, hold it in place with your low tack tape, and then run it through the die cut machine, and you're going to have perfectly cut out images every time. And I love that there's a die to cut out the word too. Now here I had a bunch of different critters on my desk, and so I decided to bring a bunch of them in here in all sorts of different sizes to show you how the caps can fit perfectly onto these critters. Don't they look just so cute? This is another fun way to personalize a grad card by picking their favorite animals or critters and adding the grad caps onto them. It's just so cute and sweet. Now here's the coordinating die for the Tiny Sentiments graduation. So we can line that up with our stamped image, hold it in place with some low tack tape, and then run it through the die cut machine. We'll have a perfectly cut out image every time, and we have these super cute little speech bubbles that are perfect for those critters in their grad caps. Now these are the coloring stencils for all the grad caps. It is a set of 2, and they've been sized to be the same size as the stamp set so that they're really easy to store together. All you need to do is line it up over your stamped image and just brush on some ink. So here I'm using some hippo ink, I believe, to get our nice kind of traditional grad cap look. And then you can work your way down to the little tassel and add a fun color onto that one. Here I'm going to do some yellow. Then you can do the same thing for the other grad cap, and there's a stencil for all the different grad caps in this set. And in this case, I'm going to bring in a different color, some blue, again to help customize these cute little grad caps. So we're going to bring in that nice blue, and I have some shading over to one side, just making the color just a little bit darker there. And then we'll add a little yellow tassel, and I think those look so gorgeous with the coloring stencils. So now it's time to start creating some card with these, and we're going to start off with our Build a Bunny die here, and we're going to dress him up for graduation. So I've die cut the bunny and the face and the arms and the body out of some white cardstock, and we are going to add some color with some markers here. These are some E50 markers, and you can see that I'm just adding darker marker around the outside edges and then blending it out into light towards the center. When I do these big die cuts, I leave it kind of messy, and it ends up looking more like fur. It just looks really nice. So dark, medium, light, and just scribble it on out. Then I'm going to add some rosy cheeks here with a nice light pink marker, which I think looks so super cute on the bunny. Then it's time to start building this bunny and getting him all dressed for graduation day. So right now, this is Rebecca making the card because her daughter's graduating this year and her school colors are red and black. So she's going to customize this for her. And we are recreating a card by Tammy today. So thank you so much, Tammy. Now we're going to flip over this cute little Build Bunny, and we're going to layer some of the coordinating pieces. So this is the backer for the ears, the eyes, and then we have a little circle for the nose, and you'll see that that's going to add all the detail into the bunny's face, which is just adorable. Next up, we're going to add that cute little white belly onto the bunny's body. And then we can also layer the arms onto the bunny as well. And you could have the arms going up like we're going to do here, or you could have one down or both down. Everything's going to work with this cute graduation outfit. We can start layering the pieces. A little drop of glue to the center of the cap, and we can add the tassel. And now we're going to add the sleeves on first, and then we can layer the rest of the gown over top, and that's going to make our whole little outfit, which is so cute. Next, we're going to add on the sash. So we're going to add some adhesive to the back, and then it just layers right over the neck, just like this. There's a little part that kind of goes behind that helps hold it in place, and you can just stick that down and then add the bunny's head on top. And now he's all dressed for graduation. It's so cute. Next, we're going to add the glasses because, I mean, how could you not? The glasses are just too sweet. And then we can add the grad cap onto the bunny. Now we're going to add some white gel pen lines just for a little extra added detail. And you'll see there that we have some extra grad caps and also the diploma. And I really like these grad caps because you could use them on their own on a card, or you can use them with the Build-A-Bunny, which is really fun too. So now we're going to build a diploma, and we've used a little red ribbon on there so that it goes along with the red of the school colors. Could add some white gel pen lines to that and add some adhesive to the little paw and have the bunny hold on to the diploma. And then we're going to create some more grad caps here because we're going to have them flying through the air. So it kind of looks like when everyone tosses their cap when they finally graduated. And I think that's such a fun look. Then we'll add some white gel pen lines so that it goes along with the rest of our critter. And then here we have the giant outline yay and some white cardstock and some black licorice cardstock. And so we've die cut the frame and the base out of white cardstock, and then the letters that we're going to drop in are going to be out of the black licorice cardstock. So we're going to cover the entire base with adhesive. This is my favorite way to do these because now your base has the adhesive and you can just layer all the pieces on top. And this is going to become almost like a fun little puzzle. So we're going to pop out any of the interior pieces and layer the frame over the base. And you can see that that adhesive now is going to peek through the rest of the frame, and we can start to add the detail of the letters. So now we're going to pop out all of the little pieces here. So we've got a little strip for the exclamation point, and then we have the Y, and we can start to drop these all in. And again, this always feels like a fun little puzzle. I just love doing these. They're really fun out of pattern paper too. Like you could do a striped rainbow paper for the frame and then drop in white cardstock for the details of the letters. Now for the A, you need to layer one more part of the frame for the interior part of the A. And then of course we have the little dot there for the I. So we're going to add the frame of the circle and then that little black dot. And of course we can save that black frame that we only took the interior letters out of and just use it on a different card later. To go along with this celebration theme, we are going to be making a shaker card. So here is a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to find some cute paper here from the Let It Shine Starry Skies. There's a nice gray with these little stars, and we'll trim that down to also be the same 5.5 by 4.25 size. We can add some tape runner to the back of that and then layer that onto this card base. Now to create the frame for our shaker, we're going to be using our reverse scalloped rectangles here. And we're going to use the largest one. These are really cool because they create a rectangular shaped opening with this cool scallop detail. And so we're going to line this up on a piece of cardstock that's 5.5 by 4.25 again. And then we'll run it through the die cut machine, and it's going to give us this really cute scalloped frame where the scallops are on the inside. Then here we have a piece of acetate, the transparent acetate there that's cut to 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to add some adhesive to the back of this frame and then layer the acetate onto that, and that is going to be creating the window for our shaker. Then we need to add some foam tape to the back of this. So here we're going to use our awesome foam strips. I love these 3D foam strips, and they're great for making shakers. And so we're going to layer this all of the way around that frame, creating a well for all of our shaker bits to hang out in. So there you can see we're just making sure they all line up so that none of our little bits are going to fall out. And now we're going to add a bunch of different pieces here. And we picked out clear, silver, and gold, again, to have that fun celebration feel so that it feels like confetti is just flying all over the place. And so we're just going to keep adding this here into this window and just sprinkling cute little stars and anything fun that you can find in your stash. Then we're going to peel up the liner paper and layer the card base on this. So we've built all these little shakers like onto the plastic, and then we're going to layer the base over top. So we're kind of building it upside down, but Rebecca found that this was a really great way to build it. It had less static and less pieces kind of flying all over the place. We have a lot of static because it's very dry where we live, and so this really helps. So I need to try this next time I make a shaker, kind of build it upside down, and it ended up working great. So now we've layered it, and you can flip it over and see all of those shaker pieces moving. And so the next thing we need to do is bring in that cute little bunny, all of our grad caps, and the giant outline yay, and start layering these guys onto the card. You'll have the grad caps flying, our cute little bunny, and then confetti going everywhere. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the bunny, and then we can layer him into the scene and then start building the rest of the card around him. Add the giant outline yay at the top, which is so cool. I love that big bold sentiment. And then we're going to layer a grad cap onto the yay, which I thought was such a fun look that Tammy created. And then here we wanted it to look like the grad caps were kind of flying from all over. So we're just going to trim off a little bit of the edge. That way it looks like it's kind of flying off the edge, like the scene keeps going and going with more graduates. And so we're going to trim off some of this one here, and then we can add some adhesive and just tuck that under the frame. And then last but not least, we need a sentiment. So here we have some narwhal cardstock and we have our wavy sayings. We're going to stamp the congratulations in some nice clear embossing ink, which is a nice sticky ink. And then we can sprinkle on some heat embossing powder. We're going to tap off any of the excess and then heat it up with our heat tool to have this beautiful, nice, bright white, shiny sentiment. These wavy sentiments go along with our wavy banners, so we're going to line it up with that, hold it in place with some low tack tape, we'll run it through the die cut machine, and we'll have this super cute wavy banner sentiment. We can layer that onto the card, and we're going to kind of tuck it a little bit behind the bunny's ear, which I think is a really, really fun look. And it adds the final step to this gorgeous shaker card. I love our cute little critter all dressed up for graduation day. And then all of those fun sparkles in the background. Oh my gosh, isn't that just so cute and so much fun? I love this card so much, and the shaker pieces just make it feel so special. And next up, Chari is going to give some of my favorite critters cute grad caps to get them ready for graduation day. So take it away, Chari.
So I love that we have all the grad caps and now all of our critters can be ready for graduation. So I'm making a card with my grad caps on critters and the Tiny Sentiments graduation. So I pulled out some I Like Big Butterflies and this cute little hedgehog from Little Woodland Library Friends because I think they all deserve to be on a graduation card. So those graduation hats come in two different sizes. I have the larger one for my hedgehog and two of the smaller ones for my butterflies. And I am just going to go ahead and add their hats so that they are ready to be put on the card. Now I did go a little extra with my butterflies. You can just add this hat directly to the butterfly, but it covers up the little antennas. So if you want to be extra like me, I trimmed off the little antenna, and you can see I'm going to keep them right here. I'm not going to let them run off. I'm not going to lose them in the floor. And I'm just going to glue them back onto the hat once I get the hat on the butterfly so that the antenna look like they're coming out the top. Still just a little dot of glue on each of my little butterflies. I'm adding those hats, and this is exactly what they would look like if you didn't do this little extra step that I'm doing today. Then I'm going to add some dots of glue on the back and add these little antennae just peeking out the top. I just think that's really cute. How cute is that? So we're going to do that to the other one as well. I did this one a little different. I put the dot of glue on the antenna and picked it up off of my desk, which I think might be a little bit easier to add those little pieces on. Now I also have the big blossom flowers. We're going to create a little scene for our butterflies and our hedgehog. He is reading his book underneath some big beautiful flowers. I cut these from sunflower cardstock and I'm going to do a little coloring to make them two-tone. So I have an orange marker and I'm just going to take that marker and make flecks of color coming out from the center towards the end. So these are daisies that have kind of two-toned petals, and I just think they're so pretty. Then while I have these out, I'm going to go ahead and add the centers. I went with some dark centers on these, so more of a Black-Eyed Susan kind of look. This is cut from chocolate bar cardstock. For the leaves and the stems, I cut those from cilantro cardstock. I am going to go ahead and add my blossoms to my stems. And then for the leaves, I'm actually going to do a little bit of marker coloring on them as well so that they have a little bit of shading and they're not quite so flat and they match my flowers a little better. So I'm just taking a coordinating green and I'll pull that color from the base of the leaf out towards the middle. Now to create my background for my little scene, I have a piece of speckled eggshell cardstock cut with the largest of the outside in stitched rectangles, and I am going to use my grass stencil to stencil some grass along the bottom, and that is where my sentiment is going to go. So I'm just using my grip mat to hold that in place. I'm using some celery stick ink to add my grass at the bottom. I really like the look of stenciling with ink on speckled eggshell cardstock. I think it just has a nice soft kind of look. So anyway, now that my grass is done, I'm shifting my stencil down so it can act as a mask. Then I'm pulling out my cloudy stencils. So we're going to do our sky with some cloud details using some merman ink. And I'm basically just going to kind of hold this in place. I am going to use my grip mat to help me a little bit so that nothing slides around. And we're going to do some clouds. Then we're going to shift it down and turn it so we have some different poofs to work with. And we're just going to work our way down the sky, adding different cloud lines as we go until it's all filled in blue. I do like to make sure that my hills and my valleys of clouds don't line up exactly. I like to kind of change it up. So you can see I'm shifting it around, making sure that the poofs all look different as I work my way down. And then down here at the bottom, I don't need the cloud stencil, but I do want to add the blue. So this is where the mask comes in very helpful to help protect the green of the grass. Now I need to add a sentiment stamped down in the grass, and I'm keeping it simple with Simply Sentiments and just using the one that says congratulations. I like that these are simple and they kind of fill up the whole width of the card. So I have this in my MISTI so I can make sure I stamp it nice and straight, and I'm just stamping it down with some black ink. Then I can add this whole panel to my card base, and I am going with a craft card base, so I have a craft outline, which I think goes really well with that speckled eggshell kind of creamy soft look that we get with this background. Then I'm ready to start adding my flowers. They're a little taller than I want them to be, so I'm going to trim them down a little bit so they are a little lower to give me some space for my butterflies up in the sky. So I'm kind of figuring out where I want them to be and where I want the leaves to be before I start gluing anything down. And once I kind of know where I want them to be, I will start gluing them down with some liquid glue. And I am tucking the leaves behind the stems before that glue dries. It just kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm making sure I glue down all the petals. I also like that the leaves and the flowers kind of cross over the outside edges of my rectangle. Now I'm ready to add my cute little critters, and I am going to pop these up with foam squares so that we have some dimension. I love this little guy. He's centered down here above the sentiment, and he is just reading away under the big flowers. And then he has a little worm friend here, so I'm adding some little cut strips to the worm so he can be popped up as well. He's just looking over his shoulder, reading that book too. Then we have our butterflies with our cute little grad caps on, and I will add some foam squares to them as well. But before I stick them down, I'm just going to kind of place them up here. I do want to stamp the little trails that go with them. So there are stamps in I Like Big Butterflies with those cute little trails, and we're just going to stamp those with some black ink. Now I am going to make sure that I stamp it to where the end of the trail it hits the edge of that stitched rectangle, so I don't want to stamp over onto my craft card base. Then I can add my butterfly once I have my trail stamped where I want it to be. I'll do the same thing for the butterfly on the right. And then I can pull off that liner paper on those little foam squares and pop him at the end of his trail too. But we're not quite done with these guys because I have those tiny sentiments from the Tiny Sentiments graduation, and I went with So Proud of You and congrats grad. I just like that these guys are kind of looking down, saying congrats to the cute little hedgehog. He must be the one that just graduated, and maybe the butterflies are his teachers. And then also I decided to stamp that cute little hooray right above his little worm friend down there. Then I am adding my glitter. So I glittered all the tassels of the hats. I'm adding glitter to the petals and the leaves of the flowers. And then what I did was I just went around and added a few little dots of glitter. So instead of hearts or sequins, I just did dots of stickles in the cloudy sky, just to add some fun little glittery interest. And then here is that finished card. I love that we can put those grad caps on all our cute little critters. And I also love that they have little sayings as well. So I'm going to create a card with the grad caps, but we're going to create a background. And then I'm also using the Tiny Sentiments graduation. I've already stamped out 3 of the little speech bubbles, and I love that there is lots of choices of things that you can stamp into these speech bubbles for your graduation card. So for this one, I'm going with I like your hat because that's one of my favorites. You did it, and hooray. I avoided the congratulations because I'm going to use a big sentiment to say congratulations. And of course, I cut them out with the coordinating die, and I'm just going to put them in my little tray here. You can see I have some other things cut out. I used the new giant outlined yay, and I've also used the hat and the diploma from the new Build a Critter graduation accessories. I like that we can use those without the critters too. Now, the secret to my background today is Bristol cardstock, jellyfish ink, and distress ink. So Bristol cardstock plus jellyfish ink and distress ink is going to give you this really cool technique that I really should come up with a name for. I discovered this a while ago that it does this cool thing, but I don't really know what to call it. So I'm taking all those little grad hats. There are 6 different ones, and I'm putting 2 on each block. And then I'm just going to start stamping. I'm going to start stamping these in the jellyfish ink, which you can't see very well, but it's all going to magically appear when we start doing some inking. So I'm just turning my hats around, using different hats, just making a graduation hat background with these cute little stamps. And this piece of Bristol cardstock is bigger than I need. I am going to trim this down with a stitch rectangle once I'm done. But it was just easier to start with something bigger and then we'll trim it out and make it all nice and clean once we've done all our inking. So I've got my graduation hats everywhere. I'm probably going out way further than I need to because like I just said, we're going to trim this down. So now for the magic. So I have picked 3 colors of distress ink. We have peacock feathers, blueprint sketch, and wilted violet. And we are going to do a gradient across this cardstock. So I'm starting with peacock feathers, and as you can see, as I add this ink to that Bristol cardstock paper, those hats just start to appear in that same ink color. So it gives you a tone-on-tone look without you having to do all that stamping in color. Then I'm moving on to blueprint sketch. And you can see between the two, I'm getting some really heavy circles. That's because Bristol cardstock doesn't absorb as quickly as regular cardstock, so it gives you a lot of time to move that ink around. So I can just go back in with that peacock feathers brush and blend out between the two and get rid of that harsh line. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to clean off my table so I don't get those colors in my purple. The other thing you want to do with Bristol is use a piece of paper to protect your surface from your fingertips. Because this doesn't absorb as quickly, it will leave fingerprints. So that's what I'm doing there, and I'm just coming in with that wilted violet on the other side. And I love how the stamping that we did just magically appears. I'll just blend out between those 2 colors, and now I have this really great background. You can keep adding color to get the intensity you want, but look at that perfect background. Now I can trim this out with a stitched rectangle, and for this one I'm going a little bit smaller so that I can have a big wide white border around my card. Now that it's cut out, I want to add some shimmer to this background. I always love some gold splatter shimmers on a graduation card. So I have my gold metallic watercolors and I'm just adding those splatters all over the background. And once those dry, they're really going to catch the light. Now for our sentiment, I have the new giant outlined yay. I cut the solid piece there from black sparkle cardstock. So we're going to have some shimmer showing through our outline. And our outline is cut from sunflower cardstock. You want to make sure you use liquid glue when you are gluing to some sparkle cardstock like this because it is a little more rough than just regular cardstock. And you also don't want to forget the little dot that goes on the exclamation point. That's what I'm doing there. And then I need to add the inside piece to my A. I actually really like that this die could just be the solid, but you have the option to kind of dress it up a little by doing the outline. Now I also have some pieces from the Build a Critter graduation accessories. I'm just using the diploma and the hat. So my diploma is speckled eggshell with a raspberry tie, and my hat is black licorice with a raspberry tassel. And I'm just making sure my glue where that tassel is attached is cleaned up, and I'll set those aside until I'm ready to put my card together. Now, in addition to that giant yay, I wanted to add the congratulations sentiment that is part of the All the Grad Caps stamp set. And I love that this is kind of a scripty sentiment and it has a coordinating die. So I am stamping this with some clear embossing ink on a piece of black cardstock. You can see I prepped it there with an anti-static powder tool, and I'm adding my white embossing powder. Then I can just heat this up with my heat tool until that powder melts and I get that bright white sentiment on that black cardstock. Now when I have that powder on there with black cardstock especially, I usually like to take a very lightly damp chamois and just kind of buff that away so that everything's nice and dark and black again. Then I will use the coordinating die that goes with this congratulations sentiment, and it's going to cut it out and it's going to look amazing on our card. So we can just line this up, hold this in place with a little bit of low tack tape, and look at this really fun sentiment we have that we can add to our card. So now I'm ready to assemble, and I have that panel that I created earlier with the Bristol cardstock, the jellyfish ink, and the distress ink. That's going to be our background. Then I am adding some foam strips all over the back of this giant yay because I want this to be popped up off the background. You can see I also added a strip to the congratulations as well. And I'm just using my hat here to make sure I put this as far down as I need to make sure I have room for the hat. I liked that the hat kind of looks like it's on top of the Y, like the Y is wearing the graduation cap. That was the look I was going for. So I just want to make sure I have enough room for that. Now I can build everything around this big sentiment by adding the little dot to the exclamation point. Then I will take that congratulations and line it up across the bottom. And I am overlapping it a little bit, makes it all look like it's one sentiment together. Then I can take my graduation hat and just tuck it behind there. It looks like that Y is wearing a hat. And then I also have my diploma to add down here in the bottom right corner. Now we can't forget our cute little sentiments. So I will put some foam squares all over the back of these so that I can pop them up as well. And I just thought these were really fun to kind of sprinkle around even without a critter saying the sentiment. I just think it's really fun. It's almost like the little yay is saying this one at the top. Yay, you did it. And then I have a couple more at the bottom. So anyone could be saying these fun sentiments on this card. And then I did add a little bit of glitter just to the ribbon and the tassel. And then here is my finished graduation card with those fun grad caps making a really fun background. I love all the shimmer and the sparkle, and I love those little sentiment bubbles as well.
Oh my goodness, Shari, that jellyfish ink technique is so cool. I cannot wait to try it. And then this card here with the butterflies and the hedgehog with the little grad caps, it's just perfect. It makes me smile so much. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this one here by Elise is so much fun. I love how she added the balloons and the clouds into the scene. It's beautiful. This card by Callie is so sweet, and using the metallic cardstock onto all the details on the outfit is so beautiful. This card here by Audrey is so pretty. I love the inking she did in the background and how she added the glasses onto the A. Here is the card by Tammy that inspired us to make ours. I love how she has a different color scheme on the same layout, which is such a fun thing. This card here by Yanea is so sweet. She created her own background using just the grad caps from the critter outfits, and I think that's so fun. This card by Grace is amazing, and she used that giant outline yay to create a shaker window. I can't wait to try that, and the books are a perfect match for that adorable fox. I love all these stacked yays by Melissa Mann, and the little speech bubbles all around are so much fun. This card here by Letitia is just adorable. I love the colors that she used in all the grad caps flying around. That congratulations is so fun, die cut too. And then this card by Lynette is so pretty. Again, I love the look of the speech bubbles and the grad caps everywhere. It's just perfect for graduation day. So we cannot wait to see all of your graduation cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!